Hi, Andy here again, and this video I'm picking 10 questions to highlight some of the albums in my collection, which I thought was quite an interesting set of questions. I confess I purloined part of this list from a video I saw that Rob Walker did, and apparently it was set by a guy who I don't know, in fairness, called Martin Harris, of a competition he did. And I thought there's some great questions in there, and I'll pinch them. I have changed about half of them because there were quite a lot of film questions, and I've changed them to record ones. So anyway, I've put some information about them down in the list. But to carry on, I'll also, by the way, list the questions down there in case anyone wants to do this as a sort of mini tag. Anyway, starting with number one, and my first question, and this is a crib one, is a unique record. Unique, is in a number of one. And I don't have any of those, but this is a fairly unique record by my standards. Anyway, and it is Curtis Mayfield Superfly, and it's a mobile. Where are we here? Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs one. So it's a massively expensive. Though I didn't pay that much for it. Still quite expensive. Super quality one. So, this was issued as a limited edition of 4,000 numbered. So, in what way is one of 4,000 unique? Well, it's because if you look at it, where are we here? There's no number in there. And also the barcode has been rubbed out. And that's basically because it's a promo. Now, I don't know how many there would have been, more than one. But not that many, I imagine. So that's fairly unique. I've got another one a bit later on, which I could have put in here. It's probably more unique, but this is an absolute fabulous record, and it's an amazing quality recording of it. The next question, another one cribbed, is a record with a connection to money. So that could be the title, it could be a song on there, it could be the cover art or whatever. Anyway, I've sort of, the first few I thought of, I can't find the bloody records. I'm sure I've had them, at least on CD, but I can't find. So I've gone with the most obvious one really, and that is Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Baby. Not a lot to say about that. Another cribbed one, an album by an actor, and this is a great album, probably not that well known, I imagine. And it's the actor is Murray Head, and this came out in the mid-70s, called "Say It Ain't So." And the title track is actually "Say It Ain't So, Joe," and it's an absolutely amazing one. But the whole album is, and he's a very good singer. He appeared in a lot of films in the sort of like late 60s and early mid 70s, and then I think later on as he went into 80s, he did a lot of musical stuff. I think famously he did the song, was it called "One Night in Bangkok," from one of the Rice and what's his name musicals. I'm not really into musicals, so this is really. I would class this as an all killer, no filler album. There's not a duff track on there, and he's a very, very good singer. Well worth checking out. And this is an original Island mid-70s label. Now the next question, I've made this one up, is a live album from a band you saw on the tour it was recorded. Now I've got sort of bare handful, 3 or 4 of these I could have used. But I'm going with this one because not only was it I saw them on the tour, but I was actually at the concert. So somewhere on here is my 15-year-old voice shouting or whatever, and it is Uriah Heep live. And that, as it says there, I mean, it was recorded in January 1973. When it was just before my 16th birthday, so I was 16 in early Feb 73, and this was recorded at Birmingham Town Hall. It starts off with the compere or whatever he's called saying it's Friday night in Birmingham, and I was there with some mates. So Quite pleased with that one, and it's an original bronze. Now the next one, another one I made up. The oldest record you bought at the time and still have. Now that's a bit of a whoop, but if I said the oldest record, then I mean, I've got records older than these, but I've bought them way since. There were three. I think the first, going back, it was 1971. I've got a sort of a handful of albums from 1971, and there are three I'm pretty sure I bought at the time. I've got 70s as well, but I don't think those are original ones. So I'm going with I was 14 at the time, so it was about the time I sort of started buying records, saving up pocket money and stuff like that. And I'm going with Split Groundhogs, the Magnificent Groundhogs. And it's on the original Liberty label from 1971. The other choices from then that I was sort of umming and ahhing about, and I'm not 100% sure, were Tarkus from Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Pilgrimage from Wishbone Ash. So those are definitely bought at the time of release, as was this. The reason I'm saying Split Groundhogs, because basically it was the first of those three which came out in 71. Could have been one of the others, but close enough. Now, this is one I purloined, number 6, and it's the colours of of your flag. It was the original. I've changed that to colours of a flag you have a connection with, which it opens it up a bit. So that could be where you live, if you live somewhere different from where you were born. Could be where you were born. It could be where your family come from originally. Who knows? Anyway. It's the 2nd of March today, and yesterday was St David's Day, and I'm half Welsh, so I'm going with the Welsh flag, which of course is red, white, not red, white and blue, but red, white and green. And to start with, my green, you can't see that, my green semi-transparent is the amazing Osric Tentacles and Strangitude. I think this came out in about 1991. This is a reissue I bought a couple of years ago. So that's my green. And my white is Nubia Garcia. So Nubia is a saxophonist, jazz saxophonist, and this is one of those amazing sort of modern, ultra modern jazz records there's such a vibrant jazz scene in London at the moment, and she's very much part of it. And this album was sort of nominated for the Mercury's a year or two ago. Obviously it's jazz, so it's never going to win above hip hop. And finally, and I've chosen the red, there's loads of red ones, and I've got loads of red ones. So I've deliberately chosen this one as an example because it somewhat leads into the next question. So my red is Wooden Ships with a J in it. And it's the title of it is actually V, as in the cover art there. And Wooden Ships are an interesting band. They're quite heavy and very pulsating drums. I really like it, but some people find it a bit wary. But it's very the guitarist. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The guitarist in there is one Ripley Johnson, of which next. So my next question is, and this is a sort of a bit of a mix from the original one, which I've adapted, is favourite spin-off / side project band. And I'm going with the band Moon Duo. And for that, I mentioned Ripley Johnson was the guitarist and leader of the band Wooden Ships, but he's also got this side project called Moon Duo, which in some ways is even more prolific than Wooden Ships, which is basically him and his wife, who is called Sanai Yamada, and they tour and produce records as Moon Duo, and I've got quite a few, most of them on sort of digital formats, but got 3 in vinyl. This one, Shadow of the Sun, which is resplendent in purple, sort of marbly purple. Stars of the Light, which is a good old pink on transparent splatter. Do like a splatter dish. And Circles, which is probably one of the best ones, which is yellow. So anyway, there you go. Number 8, unusual piece of vinyl. So this is a bit similar to the unique one, but this is more unusual than that other one, and even more unique, to be fair. And it is a test recording, and it's another Groundhogs one, and it's a test recording of the latest reissue of Who Will Save the World, The Mighty Groundhogs. And actually, bizarrely, I actually bought that reissue a year or two back. It's a Fire Record one. It's lovely yellow vinyl. I've only ever had it on CD. Bought later than when it was. So this came up. There were 5 copies of this. So this is one of 5, and it being a test recording, there's no label or anything on it, no writing. It's the only way you can tell is that Fire have put this on there. So I've got one of their test recordings, and that's unusual. Another question I purloined was a band you like up to a point. Now, there's quite a lot of these, and I really ummed and ahed about it. And in the end, I've gone for Genesis. And Selling England by the Pound. This was an original 73, so 50 years this year, and it's the original Charisma. And I was 16 at the time. I had a Saturday job, and I remember getting the money and going out and buying this on the Saturday after it came out. So this was very contemporary of the time, and I sort of got out of them a bit after this. Now, I don't hate The Lamb Lies Down in Broadway. It's okay, but it doesn't do massive for me. And then after Gabriel left, I really lost interest. I've got A Lamb Lies Down, and the next one, which was the first without Gabriel, which my wife Marion had. I've listened to them; they're okay, but basically, I sort of lost interest in them after this one, and I saw them several times. A band I was very fond of in the early 70s, and finally, the last one is one I've made up, and it's a box set, and I'm going with I've got about 3 or 4 box sets, and this is one of my favourites, and it's the Steven Wilson remixes of Yes's classic period. So in here there are 5, if you can see them all there, 5 there, and it's the Yes album, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Tales from the Topographic Ocean, and Relayer. And they've all, as I say, been remixed by Steven Wilson. I've got some of them as originals, and they're really good copies. And I looked on when I bought this came out in 2018, and I bought it then. It was £100, so quite a lot, but 20 quid per record for a reissue actually isn't that bad. But I looked on Discogs the other day, just when I pulled it down, thought, I wonder how much that's going for these days. And it's basically the cheapest is about 250 quid now, and they're up there for 350 and so on. So my 100 quid isn't looking too bad now. So anyway, there we go. That's my my 10 questions, just highlighting records from my record collection. A bit random, but I thought it was a good set of questions. And feel free to pinch them if you want, like a sort of mini tag. Anyway, thanks for watching.